There is a bridge in Scotland that many people walk their dogs on daily. This bridge has earned a nickname since the 1950s. It is now called the Dog Suicide Bridge. You are probably wondering why a bridge would be named that. Can dogs truly choose to commit suicide? Let's see if we can learn more from this. The bridge is a gorgeous ornate bridge. As you cross the bridge, you would be going towards Overtown House. The bridge stretches out over a 15-foot ravine. This Gothic-style bridge had claimed hundreds of canine lives over the years. The reasons that these dogs have jumped over are not known. The numbers could be higher, however many of the dogs have survived, but have long-lasting serious injuries. Many dogs will die as soon as they jump. However, there are some that after jumping did survive and proceeded to run up the slope only to jump off again. The second time will generally be the last time they jump, ever. The consideration is also included that it is possible that the seasons have something to do with the reactions. But time has shown, however, that it does not matter. The jumping happens throughout the year. The bizarre and strange phenomena has prompted a popular member of parliament to call on the local Dumbarton Council to post warning signs at and around the bridge. This is done in hopes of ending the macabre. A former pastor of Texas owned the Overtown home in 2019. He believed it was the scent of the mink and other wild animals that live below the bridge that possesses and takes over the sense of smell of the dogs. The dogs then jump to the wall, but due to the tapering design of the wall, the dogs then tumble off, most of those to their deaths. Pastor Bob Hill has also stated that in the 17 years of owning the home, he believes the home and the grounds have some sort of spiritual quality to it. There is nowhere in the world that does not have some form of belief in the paranormal. Even with the Overtown Bridge, paranormal may play an aspect of it. Many folks believe that a grieving widow who is called the White Lady of Overtown continues to reside at the Overtown and around the bridge era. It is believed that this ghostly presence steers the dog's keen sense of seeing and hearing. This puts the dogs into a physical death frenzy. The Baron of Overtown, heavily into hunting with many hunting dogs in his kennels, is also believed to have lost some of his dogs when they jumped over the bridge over 100 years ago. Another terrifying tale that pertains to the suicide of the dog bridge occurred in 1994. A 32-year-old father who believed his own flesh and blood was the Antichrist threw his own baby over the bridge and into the gorge below. The baby passed away the following day, and the father was found legally insane and incompetent to stand trial. He was committed to an institution. That may be the only verified tale of a human dying at the bottom of the gorge covered by the Overtown Bridge. One strange significance in regards to the Overtown Bridge: all the dogs seem to only jump from the same era, as though it is marked for them to see. Imagine in all those years since the time the bridge was built, all the dogs jumping from the same spot on that bridge. How is that even possible? Is that spot tied to a supernatural invisible symbol? Is the grieving ghost of Overtown standing guard to direct the dogs to the only spot that they are allowed to jump from? Animal behaviorist David Sands, he did research and he tested his research. He has come to the conclusion that the scent of minks are what draw the dogs to go high flying over the edge of the bridge. But one question though from Mr. Sands: if that is the case, Why is there only dog suicides of the one bridge and not all the others in Scotland? Another question is why the dog's owners suddenly unleashed the dogs at the bridge. Is the bridge supposedly a safe spot in the owner's mind? That means the dog should be able to roam free. Shauna was taking a walk with her sister, walking towards the Overtown house. As they reached the bridge, the sister unhooked the leash and allowed her dog to roam free. What possessed her to suddenly unhook her dog over the spans of a bridge? The dog immediately ran to one of the coves on the bridge, which turned out to be the one that the dogs ran to. According to Shauna, the whole episode happened extremely quickly. The sister's dog did survive the jump. They never did understand why the dog jumped. He is not a curious type of dog to begin with. Then there was the case of Alice Trevorrow, who has a dog named Cassie, recalls walking over the bridge in 2014. Considering how well behaved the dog was, she didn't attach her leash after parking. Together with her child, she walked to where Cassie was standing and staring at the bridge. Something caught her eye that made her startle. It was as if there was something wicked in the air. This was quite out of her usual behavior. At roughly the same time, a man named Kenneth Makel was strolling across the bridge with his golden retriever when the dog suddenly jumped out of nowhere. Fortunately, the dog survived. It is also thought that the dogs who do survive are those that land on a thick bed of moss. The moss is what saved the dogs from serious injury. Paul Owens, author of Overtown's Dead Leaping Dog Mystery Unraveled, states plainly that the Overtown Bridge is a center for the paranormal. He has had many stories in regards to people seeing the white lady who is said to haunt the bridge. The lady is said to have had a personal relationship with the bridge. Her name is actually carved into the bridge at one end. Owens believes that the Lady Overtown remains at one end of the bridge and physically calls out the dogs to come to her. Many people have reported seeing a woman dressed in Victorian dress, wringing her hands in anguish. Owens also says, these are not urban lore, urban myth. There is real evidence of many of these cases. These dogs are jumping, and many of them are dying. Is it possible that poor Lady Overtown experienced her dog jump over the edge of the bridge and ultimately die? Is it possible that the dog said jump since they are hearing the wails, the whines of an injured dog? Possibly Lady Overtown's dog. We may never know this. Residents of Dumbarton do not hesitate to speak of the superstitions that surround Overtown. Many of the residents state that they grew up playing on the grounds of Overtown. Many of them felt the spirits or seen the ghost of Overtown while playing. Does history, more than that of Lady Overtown, have a place in this strange phenomena happening? The bridge was designed by Henry Milner, who had been hired by John White to design a bridge that would join Overtown with Garshake. The bridge is actually an extension of the driveway that adjoins the Overtown residence. Completed in 1895, the bridge is actually a popular spot for tourists and dog walkers, mostly due to the bright green lush trees and brushes and the incredible ornate design. Lottie McKinnon tells of one episode that she had with her dog Bonnie. They often took walks many times over the Overtown Bridge. The day in question, however, was a day that left Lottie shocked. As they approached the bridge, Lottie could feel a change in her dog's behavior. She could sense the change in her dog. According to McKinnon, at first she was frozen. Then she became possessed by a strange energy. She then ran over and jumped off the parapet. Luckily, Bonnie survived. Lottie McKinnon is not the only person to have the experience of feeling the change come over their dog. There have been numerous witnesses. Due to the number of incidents, even the Society of the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals sent an investigative team to the bridge. But there was no answer that the investigators could find to explain. One thing for sure is that when one witnesses a dog leap off a bridge and die, it will definitely make you believe that there is a malevolent force at work on that bridge. Witnessing this act would be like participating in an episode of The Twilight Zone. There has been plenty of research done at Overtown Bridge, research by Animal Protection, Science, and others. None of these people or groups can determine what makes an animal leap off the bridge. Scotland is known to be a highly superstitious country. This lends credence to Paul Owens and his book. He also states, after 11 years of researching the bridge and the Overtown era, he is convinced that there is a ghost behind all the strange dog behavior. Does this mean that all those who have reported seeing the lady in white are correct? The grieving widow of John White is spending time on the bridge calling to the dogs. Is she trying to replace the dog she lost in the very same fashion? After all, she had been seen lurking in the windows and also walking around the grounds. The poor woman spent 30 years without her husband and a few of those without her beloved dog. There have been many theories in regards to what causes these canines to jump, and like so many other aspects of this bizarre behavior, there are some who know what causes these dogs to jump and others who speculate and believe their answer to be the correct one. For instance, in 2010, animal behaviorist David Sands stated that since the majority of the canines that have jumped are the long-nosed type, this means that their keen smelling skills would be responsible for telling these canines that there's prey below the bridge. He states that the wild animal scent is something that the dogs are not accustomed to, and therefore they jump to find the cause of the scent they smell. A dog's sense of smell is 100,000 times better than that of a human. This, combined with the less than good sight in a dog, makes it a compelling notion that the dogs jump due to smelling the wild animals. Another possibility, according to Sands, is that the canines can see or hear the wild animals below the bridge. He says that the design and look of the bridge is deceiving to the dogs. It has tapered edges and might look like it is a safe and flat surface. Therefore, the dog's point of view while standing there is deceptive to them. Ultimately, what Sands believes is that in this case, curiosity killed the dog. Whatever the cause may be in this case, it is good to know that more people are being cautious and keeping their dogs on the leash while they are out walking on the Overtown Bridge. This has proven to be a way to keep their beloved dogs alive, at least in their opinions. Even those who keep the leashes firmly attached have stated that there's always a hesitation with their dog, almost the minute they step on the bridge. When interviewed, these owners will comically look off in the distance and say, "Ah, there she is, the white lady," the ones that many swear remains on the grounds, searching and calling out the dogs.